honeypot is placed just before the internal firewall. So what it does is when the hacker starts hacking, he disables a firewall, then web server, there are a couple of servers. After that, what comes is the direct firewall to your system. So just before that firewall, there is a honeypot. This is done because the hacker will know that he has successfully, like the hacker is deceived. He thinks that he successfully hacked into your system and starts doing whatever he wants to do, but instead he gets caught in your trap. So types of honeypots. So based on the uses, honeypots are classified into two: production honeypots and research honeypots. Production honeypots are mostly used by the corporations, like Google or any corporations. These are easy to use and they capture only limited information, because this is because they don't want, in big companies there are not much hackers who have information about honeypots. So it is made easy to use, and it has it doesn't have any complex code behind it. So if there is a bug which arises, the corporation itself can solve it. And it captures only limited information because the corporation do not want to give most of its secret information away. Because in the end we have to understand that honeypot acts as a bait. We give our information expecting that an attacker will attack and fall into our trap. So the corporation do not want to give their important information, so they give only limited information. These take very less space in the software, in the system also. The other type is research honeypots. These honeypots are mainly used to gather information about the motives and tactics of a black hat community. What this does is, these are like generally used by government organizations like military and air force, other things. What they do is they set up these honeypots in government websites and they wait for attackers to attack. So while the attackers attack, we who are the cyber security team, we will be able to understand how the attackers are trying to breach our system and what are the tactics or tools that they are using to breach the system. So once we understand that, until they come into our main system, our cyber security will be able to counter attack and they can be able to block them off. So these research honeypots are really expensive and they are very hard to maintain, as they have complex code behind them. So both production and research honeypots are further classified into three: pure, high interaction, and low interaction. These are based on the design, how they are designed. Pure honeypots are honeypots that are full-fledged production system. It means you don't need any external software or root anything like roots or anything to run it in your system. You can just directly install the software and it runs in your system. And high interaction honeypots. High interaction honeypots are something that this has very complex code behind it. It's like, once the attacker comes inside, it forms a jail and traps the attacker, and it forms a like infinite maze so that the attacker can never escape. So this is like a double-edged sword. It is both risky and highly useful to the companies. So what happens here is, here one honeypot is connected to other honeypots. So the hacker has wide range of servers that he has to put down before entering the system. So it is very difficult to disable all this, and it also hides really well so that it is very difficult to detect. And if suppose an hacker is able to put it down, it can easily be restored. Example, Honeynet is one such software which can be used. And low interaction honeypots, these are again mostly used by the corporations. These have very less complex code, short response time, and what it does is it gives only the limited information. Like if a hacker wants to attack the stocks, it will give only information about stocks as a bait. But high interaction honeypots will give everything, like all the information that is available. So this is very risky and most corporations do not use this. So uses of honeypot. Email traps. Email traps is something that if a spammer want to spam your email, he does something called email address harvesting. There are many online sites as well as software with which you can do email address harvesting. What they do is they gather many email addresses at a time, and they send a single spam mail to all those emails which are gathered by the harvesting. So what honeypot does here is honeypot creates a fake username that are only visible to the software or websites which do address harvesting. So because they are only visible to spammers, when an email comes when an email comes to that user ID, the honeypot will know that this is sent by a spammer, and it will immediately block all the mails across the whole corporation or whole company. It will block the particular mail so that it cannot be spammed, like the spammer cannot send any spam mails. Then next, a decoy database. Mostly a database can be easily corrupted by something known as SQL injector. And when you corrupt a database, the firewall and our normal security systems will not detect it. So what honeypot does is it creates a fake database, and and provides a lump sum of data. It provides so much data that the hacker will get tired, and he will stop hacking. And even though he doesn't stop hacking until he compromises the decoy database, the cybersecurity or the white hat hackers who are in the corporation will form a solution to it and block the hackers. And the next is a malware honeypot. This mimics a software, apps, and API. API is nothing but it provides an interface between one software to other software, or one computer between to other computer. So what it does, it makes software, apps, or APIs similar to already made apps, and so that when a malware attacks the system, before it can really corrupt the system, a solution is formed. Most of these uses are made such that before the attacker attacks your system, a solution can be made so that they will not attack it. And a spider honeypot. A spider honeypot is intended to trap web crawlers. Now, what are web crawlers? Web crawlers is a bot, like how we use different bots to hack games like Subway Surfers and all. Web crawler is a bot. What it does, it visits many websites across Google, and without their permission. It doesn't ask any permission, or it doesn't accept any cookies. It directly visits and stores all the information in the website. And what they do is, when you want any information, you can easily type a keyword in the bot, and it will give you all the information. So basically, this is not something illegal, but in most countries this is illegal because it can compromise government data. But this spider honeypot will tell us that spider honeypot can tell us what are the flaws in your code, or what are the flaws in your computer, so that we can improve our code. Disadvantages of honeypot. So there are like many disadvantages of honeypot. Here are three. One is narrow field view. What it does is, now honeypot works only when we give some information to the hacker. So here, if we give one information, the honeypot will work for only that information. If the hacker attacks for some other information, or if he attacks from another perspective, the honeypot will not be able to block the hacker. So if a hacker will hack from the back door, suppose, or if he hacks if you gave information about railway portal, and he hacks in airport in the same website, so he can easily hack because honeypot is not over there. Another disadvantage is fingerprinting. What fingerprinting means is that honeypots do not exactly replicate the code. There are a few flaws in honeypot codes. That is, like sometimes in HTML code, if you want to type print, it will type a spelling mistake known as PNRIT or something like that. So when a hacker gets to know about this, he will know that this is a honeypot. He will be able to recognize because there is a mistake in the code, and still the code is running. So what he will do is he will send many spoof attacks, like which are not real attacks. While the honeypot is busy in avoiding these spoof attacks, the hacker will do his main attack from somewhere else. While all the cybersecurity teams will be focusing on these spoof attacks, the hacker will do from somewhere else. And the third one is risk. Now, what risk here means is that when we are using a honeypot, we must be aware that we are compromising our data in the hands of a hacker. If the hacker is successful to hack, he would be able to access all the data, and sometimes even though he's not able to hack the honeypot, whatever data is available in the honeypot, he can, most of the times his work will be done there itself, because we are giving the data in the honeypot. So because of these reasons, honeypot are not used to replace security mechanisms like firewalls or intrusion detection systems, but they are used as an additional security detail in many companies. These are my references. Thank you.